Hi everyone. Joy here again. I hope with all my heart that everyone can see what's going on in this world. We're being shuffled from one place to another. We're being invaded by different countries and different uh, statuses of evil in one form or another. There's Hollywood that's going on there. There's the Epstein files and all that crap that went on with lustful encouragement going on into the human race. There's you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. If you don't do it this way, then you can't be this, or if you don't do it my way, then you don't love me. If if you don't do it a certain statue their way, then you can't have this or you can't have that. It's just a push come to shove every which way you turn. And my my thing about it is okay. We're society once once things started getting produced in the economy and civilization and easier ways to live your life, then things started getting more complicated. Back in Little House on the Prairie days, they only had two outfits of clothing. They had their Sunday best, and they had their everyday clothing, their work clothing, their what they lived around every day, and then they had their best dress, their best pants and shirt to go to church. And of course, I don't know about the men as far as the pants go, because they're the ones that had to do all the plowing and all the, especially if they raised their own food and their animals and stuff, and they'd be the ones that was out there the most of the time, taking care of the animals and plowing the fields and that kind of thing. But as time went on, they mankind started inventing different things to make life easier. And uh, women and men started wearing more and more different kinds of clothing, gathering more clothing because they found a way to wash them better, invented electric, invented running water, putting it into everybody's homes, inventing the bathroom and showers and ways to wash the clothes. So you can have as many outfits as you so choose. And then, of course, the advertisements come along. Well, people out there creating different clothes and different styles and stuff, they start advertising how wonderful it would be for you to have this clothes or that clothes. Or and then to come people that lived in the cold, there was the heavy winter clothing and all that so you could stay warm. And it just endless what society and civilization has brought into existence for people to live easier lives. But as time goes on, those things keep getting more and more expensive. And then it gets to the point where you get so used to it that you have to have those things in order to live up to the expectations of civilization and society. And now, where I'm at here, and it's hard for me right now during wintertime to get out to go wash my clothes at the laundromat, which costs money. And that's understandable because it's their electric, it's their water. So here we are in a place in the world, because it's all over the world, that you've got to have certain things in life provided to you so that you can live, quote unquote, a simpler and cleaner, happier life. I can remember having a washer and dryer at my home, and now the last time I actually had that was in Florida. I had the washing machine, I had the dryer, and I could keep everything in my home nice and clean. And that's great. That's awesome. I mean, you can, wow, woo, yeah, and uh, but the corporations have gotten so greedy. The water prices is astronomical. Not to mention the chemicals that they put in your water, unless of course you have well water, and then the expense that goes into that if something goes wrong. Just like us here, my daughter and her husband just put $2,000 into fixing the well, and it's not fixed yet. So we're without water. We're at the mercy of the companies that sell that equipment in order for us to have water. But then, to dare go out and hire somebody to come in and do it, we'd pay 3 times the amount for somebody else to do it other than him and his boys to do it. So the electric, it just keeps going up and up and up. Uh, my daughter and her husband just last month paid an $800 electric bill. Of course, that's mine added on too, but I give them $200 towards that. And but it's still at $600 a month more that they're at the mercy. If they want all the commodities that it takes to have a clean, comfortable life, then we're at the mercy of these companies. And we, as long as you want that kind of comfort, you're going to be at the mercy of these companies. And they can keep raising the prices and raising the prices. But on the other hand, they say they have to raise their prices because what they have to pay for from other people that had to raise their prices. It's all tied in and mixed in together. So here we are, we're trying to live a peaceful, comfortable life, a happy, joyful life, but at the mercy of companies that are making billions and billions of dollars while we have to scrape the barrel of our bank account to pay to live comfortably, to have clean clothes, to have clean bedding, to have a clean home. Okay. And I've been telling you, well, we need to adapt and not comply because there's a big gray area between complying and doing without and being homeless. And and of course, the homeless then are at a point where they kind of have to comply in one sense of the word because they're not allowed to stationary a tent here or there, what. But then if they want food, then they have to go sign up to the system to have food stamps or go to a shelter and comply for their rules. And it's a comply generation. So, but like I said, there's a gray area between complying and doing without. But then again, if you're renting and you want a roof over your head, you have to comply with the rent prices. no matter how much income you've got to comply with the rent prices because the landlords have their everything that they have to buy to keep that rental going has went up. Their taxes and different things have went up, um, and so it's just endless, endless, endless. So how? I mean, what do we do? Why? How do we get away from having to uh, be indebted to uh, pay for water, pay for sewer, pay for electric? Now here we don't have to pay for sewer and we don't have to pay for water until something breaks or until something goes wrong. If a wind comes along and tears down our electric pole and tears that all up, we're responsible for the electric going into the house, the wiring, the the box and everything that goes on the pole. Now the electric company is responsible if it if the wind or whatever destroys the big thing, I forget what you call it, the transformer that puts the electric into your pole. And so no matter how you look at it, you're indebted to somebody else in order to live just a survival. Not to live high on the hog, not to uh, live more than enough, just to survive. So how do we do that? Well, we can downsize and downsize and downsize. We can be like where I'm at. I'm in a camper on my daughter's property, and that's great. I'm not in a city where I have to pay for water. I'm not in a city where I have to pay for sewer. I'm not in a city where I have to pay for internet or cable or anything like that. But if I want to watch this TV, even on Roku, I still have to have electric. I still have to have internet to do that. And likewise, my daughter up there. If they want this, which they have Roku, they got rid of the cable and all that, so they can watch Roku and have the internet and get on the computers and stuff. And but I have to pay for it, and I think that's like $65 a month. I get it free because I happen to live here. Okay, so I downsized, but I still have to look towards companies that's going to provide the electricity, the propane to keep warm here. And okay, right now I can't keep warm without the electric. And the electric prices just keep going up, up, and up. I can't stay warm entirely without propane that helps keep me warmer than just the electric because I can only run so much electric in this camper. I can't go all electric like my daughter can up there. But everybody's still at the mercy of these companies that can raise their prices anytime they want to. So, all right, I downsized. I'm in a camper, I'm in a tiny, but I still got to depend on other companies to provide for me to at least be warm and a roof over my head and water and sewer. And and then okay, so everybody's going off grid. Okay. let's say we did go off grid here. How would we do that? Okay, it's wintertime here. Sun very rarely comes out, and solar takes sunlight. We could have all kinds of solar panels on my roof, on their roof, and generating uh, enough to run the electric. But then again, when the sun's not generating and charging those lithium batteries, then we don't have enough electric to run heat. But then again, if like me, I'm running on propane and electric, I'm still subject to having to get my propane off of a company. And if I did have my own little property, and like a lot of people out here are doing, they're still running on propane in certain instances, or they're running on diesel heat and or wood burners. Well, okay, let's do the wood burner. Them can be dangerous if you don't know what the hell you're doing. And because my son had a wood burner down where he was trying to build a little tiny home, and it caught his place on fire just from a little spark. And so okay, we've downsized, we've this, we've that. We're running. The only choice that we've got, we built our own little sewer system. Not here, but I'm just saying, in general, you downsized, you went tiny, and you're getting off the grid. You got off the grid. You really don't have a well. You're going to a spring someplace, and you're carrying water home, and all the work that it goes into making sure that you got water piped into your home, all that sort of thing. You're dependent entirely on solar to and wood burner to heat your house. And in the summertime, you're running a fan if it gets too hot on a solar generated generator. But when something breaks, you still gotta go depend on somebody else that's gonna have the parts that you need to fix the solar. And if you're heating your house with wood, you've got to find a wood supply. Especially if you're living on a piece of property that you can't continuously chop wood. Now, like here. Now, my grandson, he has wood burner down there, and that's mostly what he heats on. Now, he does have fuel oil, um, but it's not running. And then if he did, he still would have to depend on them delivering the fuel oil. So how do you get past it? How do you decide that you want completely out of the system? Well, truth be told, you can't get completely out of the system unless you're on a piece of property big enough that you can regrow trees and constantly keep it rotating with wood so that you can burn in your wood burner, grow your own fruit trees, grow your own garden, and then again, you gotta, until you can get started, you're dependent on going out and getting the fruit trees to plant, going out and getting the different things that you need to get started with, chickens, that thing. And then you still got to have the chicken feed to feed the chickens and the damage that they do to the chicken feed. I mean, it's an endless, endless, endless. That at the end of the day, you're still somewhere down the line, still dependent on companies. So all you can do is get it down to the bare minimum. So if we want electric, right now, especially here in the cold region, and there's very little sun, we either have to move to like Arizona or California, place like that, that is constant sunlight and constant warmth outside. A place where we can grow good fruit trees. A place where we can have chickens. And then, but see, Arizona, they have their laws and regulations too. Uh, but it takes money to get started to do that too. So, what's the end? What's the end result? Adapt. That's all we can do is adapt and find ways to have the nice, pretty clothes that we want. We used to live by the Verde River, the Colorado River, and all that went through up north like that, and through Arizona. We used to bathe in that, uh, and we didn't wash our clothes that way. But you got to have very little clothes to live like that. That's for sure. But learn to get along and still feel like you dress nice, still feel like you can keep them clean, and be able to be happy and content with as little as possible. Like I said, we can downsize all we want, but in the long run, we're still at the mercy of people that make the solar. If we go off grid, we're still at the mercy of the sun. We're still at the mercy of the ground if we want to grow trees and raise animals. We're still at the mercy of all of that. I'm just going to say this one thing. If you believe you can or if you believe you can't, you're right. So how do we keep up that faith that we can? We just got to keep speaking it. That's all I know, and try to adapt the best to adjust to our lifestyle. Hugs and kisses, y'all. You have a great day. I love you. See you soon.